Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
Avast me hearties, and welcome once again to Full Stream Ahead. I'm your Captain Charlie, the Professor-esser, and with me as always is me, first mate and skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Mozzie, so glad to have you. In a world of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there are those who fight against the forces of evil with nothing but two sticks and a string. They are Hawkeye, and this is their stories. Season 1, Episode 5, the penultimate episode, take a drink. Ronin. Fallout nearly derails their partnership, but Kate makes a discovery that changes everything. Our directors this week are Bert and Bertie. I recently saw a picture of Bert and Bertie. They are just adorable looking. They're like, they look like a Bert and a Bertie. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
I mean, you can't help but associate it with Bert and Ernie from Sesame.
Yeah. But I believe they're two British ladies, but they're very much a class act. Jenna Noel Frazier gets a writing credit, but IMDb is not telling us what it is. Jonathan Igla gets the created for television by Stan Lee and Doc Hack, of course, created Hawkeye. Tanner Bean and Katrina Matthewson, of course, get those executive story editor credits. They have so much executive story to edit, they needed two people. And then, of course, hardest working person in show business, Jonathan Igla, our head writer. Okay, wow, this is interesting, I think, because this takes place just after the big fight on the rooftop where Hawkeye does his Lassie moment. You know, he says, "Go away, I never liked you anyway, you dumb dog." And, sends poor Kate Bishop away. And she goes to her home, and man, I don't know, man, I get a real Mother Gothels vibe.
Who's that?
Oh, that's the mom from Rapunzel. From
yes.
Tangled, you know.
Yeah,
with like, oh, well, now you know there's certain things you can't do. And it's like, she did pretty good, actually. She's actually pretty impressive at what she does. But, you know, you assume it comes from a place of love, but then maybe less so. I don't know. But it did seem very manipulative the way that and I guess that's partially because we all know she's evil. We know the mom is evil, going in. And that is maybe an unfair assumption on our part.
I don't know. She seems to have like a motivation for everything. Everything seems to be planned and presented rather than an honest experience with anybody, it seems.
Yeah, and even I think with her daughter, I do feel like there is this sort of, you know, you're my daughter, you are my creation. You exist for this purpose for me. Less than, you are my daughter and I want you to be whatever you are going to be.
Right.
And it's a subtle difference, but I do think that it's a real difference that you get in this, where I think, it is much less about what the mom wants Kate to do or be, and what Kate wants to do or be. And it's sort of like just trying to get her into the line of what the company needs. The company doesn't need another Archer. The company needs someone to take over as CEO eventually. Yeah. But that might not be what she wants to do with her life. She may want to be a superhero.
Well, I mean, like, you trained her in all the martial arts, and then you wanted her to be a CEO? I mean, come on.
Well, you assume the martial arts will build discipline and all the things that would be helpful for a CEO. But, it's like, there's lots of things, she probably plays the piano really well too, and, although we haven't seen that yet.
No.
She may not. She may actually be a horrible pianist. We don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so this is interesting because we also have, so we set up with the framework of her mom is sort of bringing her in and sort of getting her under control. And then, she basically tells her, about, when they were investigating Armand's murder and how they came across, Jack as the head of this, money laundering for this, firm. And again, this is information that they have from Bishop Securities. She's still not putting the pieces together,
Yeah.
And although I'm still not convinced that Jack is as innocent as he plays.
Oh, he's definitely not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's really the question here.
If he is the CEO of this or that, and he's that good with a sword, he's definitely, putting on a show.
Well, yeah. Well, or he just, studied swordsmanship, thinking it would one day make him a great CEO. It's like, no, now I just want to play with swords all day. It's, it kind of makes him like the perfect pair for Kate Bishop, really. When you think about it, it's like you can totally see him being this tally-ho adventurer,
Yeah.
The Crimson Cavalier, the Blue Blade. These were other Marvel Comics heroes from the past.
I just think he's really good at maintaining a cover.
Mm-hmm. That's the presumption here. But you have to admit, it's like it's weird because at times, it's sort of this thing with him where it's like, okay, this has to be an act, but then it's like, it's sort of like, have you ever seen Being There with Peter Sellers?
No.
Where he plays Chance Gardner. Okay, so the basic idea of Being There is Chance Gardner is basically a very slow-witted person, but he's also very quiet, and he just is very polite and well-meaning, and he doesn't really understand any of the conversations he's having. But because he's there, and because he is so nice and well-meaning, he sort of finds himself being risen up and held up as this icon of humanity. And he's really just the, effectively the idiot child of an aging billionaire who, he just happens to be there.
That's funny.
It's a good film, though. It's one of Peter Sellers' best films. It's called Being There.
I've only seen his Pink Panther movies, and I'm a huge fan of those.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he's a great physical comedian. This is much more subtle. But you also, I'll tell you this much, if you like Pink Panther, if you can imagine, like, what if Clouseau was a quiet character? Basically, what if Clouseau were, Bud Abbott instead of Lou Costello? It's kind of similar. It's the same kind of, I'm not too bright and I'm wandering through my world. but everyone else puts upon me this idea that it's actually in its own way kind of the opposite of Clouseau. Clouseau is absolutely incompetent, but he presents himself as a genius. He's a guy who he is equally incompetent, but he doesn't present himself as anything other than incompetent, and yet everyone declares him a genius. So it's a nice equal and opposite format. But anyway, so I don't know with Jacques if he is Clouseau, is he Chance the Gardener? Is this all a ruse? He's just pretending to be an incompetent so that everyone will just lovingly like him and work with him? Or is there something else going on here? But
I would like to
see that he does
more
get
to him.
Oh yeah, I am certain we'll see more of him in season.
No.
2.
What I mean is, I would like to think that he's more clever than that. That they didn't just make him like this hapless, goofy idiot. That he is somehow.
No. I don't think he's a hapless, goofy idiot. I think, but he might be. He might also be stupid like a fox. Where it's like it's not that he's not dumb, but it's like he's dumb in just the right way to get himself his advantage.
I can see that.
It's sort of a sort of Trumpian idiocy, if you will, where if you know how to position yourself within your own ignorance, you can actually become very powerful. But that's one theory. We'll see what's going to happen with him. But we get Yelena and
I think that's what this episode was really about. Was about Yelena and her backstory and that interrogation scene. It was great. The subtlety of it, the subtext of everything that was happening was so cool, so great. And I'm usually like not a fan of people don't do that accent very well. I think she does a really decent job of sounding natural while putting on that accent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, she really does. I think she sells it very well. And as I always say, it's important to remember with her, that accent is as much an affectation as anything. Because because she's a Black Widow. She can speak perfect English if she wants to. Her insistence on putting on that accent is expressly a calculated move to put people off their game, to intimidate them with her Russianness, as it were. Her reindeer eating Russianness. Although I love, and it's just so delightful, all the things, about why she loves American Christmas, which again is that callback to the movie. And, when they shot the Christmas pictures, we did that all in one day, but you were so excited. You felt like it was really Christmas. And it was just, about these things that just stick with you. And yes, I am a cold-blooded killer, but also I like superpower reindeer. And,
I thought she was saying it almost tongue in cheek, like, oh, this is such hypocritical, dumb traditions. You have a superpowered reindeer. Oh, I love the American Christmas. I saw like invisible quotation hands through most of that little monologue.
Oh, no, see, I thought that was 100% sincere.
Interesting.
I thought, yeah, because, that's the thing. It's like she grew up, she had this time in America where she knew about Christmas as a concept.
I thought she was here's a little rich girl that actually had the Christmases I had to pretend to have, oh, you're a prissy little rich girl trying to walk around thinking you can fight bad guys. Where's Hawkeye?
Yeah, but I actually think she's
cut out for a second. But I think that was just her sort of feeling good for getting a little bit of revenge on somebody who had a much better childhood than she did.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, everyone had a much better childhood than she did. But
this is also like Kate Bishop comes from like a wealthy family, the kind of family where, you have obligations to the family business, the family enterprise or whatever. You're cutting out again.
Yeah. So And what I'll say is, I kind of feel like, I feel that I don't feel like it's really that negative. I think that in its own way, I really feel that Yelena actually does have this positive memory and this positive connection with Christmas. I mean, yes, there is this manufactured contrivance to it, as well as part of the interrogation. But I actually think that's really where she's at. And, we get that, the whole Sex in the City, the Sex in the City fantasy of her and her sister, where I think there is this idea of she would love nothing more than to be in that happy, even when she knows it's not as easy a reality as she would like it to be, that she still feels like, if only Nat and I could just put all this, murdering behind us, get rid off our ledger, and move on, If we free the widows, then we can do this. Although it does recontextualize a lot of what we have seen, especially with regards to the final Vormir scene, because prior to this, we really didn't know that Nat had lost someone. That she was sacrificing herself because she wanted to make sure that she brought someone back. And it's this interesting dynamic where now when we look at that scene, it's not Nat saying, I'm going to sacrifice myself so that, your kids have a parent. It's, I'm going to sacrifice myself because I have people I have lost.
Wow.
And I need to be the one to bring them back. And really in that way, and especially in the sense that we get in this when we find out that, Clint knew about her family's loss too, that it really is this context now that it's like, they both wanted to end their pain of this loss. And it's like, if I can both end my pain and give this person a second chance at life, that's a win-win. And that's really what they were both doing there. And it really recontextualizes the entire scene on Vormir.
And I don't think Yelena has that understanding. That's how things played out. She thinks it was probably like Hawkeye not being adept enough to be an efficient partner, and that's what caused her to die. Or that he was somehow more intentionally responsible.
Yeah, and that's what we don't know yet, exactly what she believes to have happened. How much the Avengers even told anyone about how they brought people back. I mean, people knew about Thanos and they knew about the stones and yada, yada, yada. But, though how they know about that, we don't know. But apparently it is common knowledge at this point. Someone blabbed, probably Peter Parker. And that's sort of where we find ourselves in this one, of these, characters who are dealing with their own, struggles coming back from being dusted. And to that extent, getting back to that first scene where, Yelena is in the bathroom. And then she fades out and fades in almost instantaneously, which is a really neat way because that's how it perceives to her. To her, she was standing there washing her hands, and all of a sudden her hands temporarily discorporated and then recorporated. And then her mind catches up with what she sees, and everything around her changes, as if it was being dusted. The entire world restructures because her brain has that memory of what the world looks like, but now it's getting data that's not what the world looks like anymore. And it's sort of adjusting her perception to it.
That's really cool. And I didn't realize that they were showing that relationship, like she dusted from the world as well, but to her, the whole world dusted and is coalescing. That's
and that's how I read that. And I think that's why
she's really cool.
Why she's very unnerved when she comes out of the bathroom. And there's, the little baby and the guy there. And
is that how it happened for Monica Rambeau as well? Did it involve going in and out of a bathroom?
No. She actually, I'm trying to remember. Was she was sitting in the room? Yeah, she was sitting in the hospital room and she closed her eyes.
I think it was mid-run. She was just in the hallway running around trying to find a doctor, and she coalesced back mid-run, still looking for a doctor, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember if she was looking for the doctor or if when she came back, her mom wasn't in the room and she wanted to know what happened, And then you saw other people coming into existence as she's running, and people are coming in, and that's when she hits someone because they were in mid-run in the original, and now when they come back into existence, they're still running, just like that marching band. Still make sure we're about those people that were on the plane. So it's, it's a dramatic moment for this, and I do like that, what's her name? Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop. She understands everything that Elena is doing. And as much as she is impressed by her, I think that Elena is overselling her ability to kill this person. And that's sort of this thing that I think we see a few times in this, is this idea of someone who is, intentionally trying to create an intimidating threat about themselves that maybe isn't justified by the work they're doing. I don't know, but that just could be my own assumption, my own reading it. She's obviously super capable. I just think Kate is underselling how capable she is and is going to be shown to be. We get the big Ronin Maya showdown in this, which is really cool. I like him shooting the messenger arrow to the bros. That was very cool. It's just because it's just like this, it goes, and it's intentionally to get stuck halfway and then reveal the note, which is just such a weird way to send this. It's all the trick arrows, that's probably the weirdest one.
He had to sit there, pull out a little scroll, and scribble down his little note for Ronin.
That's trick arrows.
He had a lot of time at Grill's house.
Yeah. The grill scene, I love that too, because it does show how exhausted he really is.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, absolutely want to do it, man, but I just have to sleep. And he just falls out on the couch with the dog. And it's sad and it's beautiful. And he is so beat down. We do get some confirmation in this that the watch probably is Laura's. It ties to Laura and their family, though how we don't know. And as I always say, why would you keep that? Why aren't you hitting this with a hammer? That is what these things are for. So that's where we're at with this. And, she is, what's the word I'm looking for?
Who is?
They have their, you start with girls, but then what I want to talk about is when he has that confrontation with Maya in the Fat Man's used auto. Started as a body shop, now it's a used auto shop. Now it's a used car dealership.
Might be next door to each other.
It could be, but see, that to me, that's much more a New Jersey thing than a New York thing. I don't know, but maybe it's in Queens, so maybe it's a little different. Because you do have a lot of mechanics that also sell used cars because basically, you have a busted car, you fix the car, then you sell the car.
Right.
But in this case, so what we're dealing with is this great horror movie vibe where he just takes out each of the tracksuits one by one by one. And I do think he intentionally gets her to deplete her bullets by showing up and running so that she sees him, she shoots him or shoots at him. But it's like, he knows exactly what he's doing. Like every scene he is setting this up so that he can confront her, kind of showing how he, as an Avenger, really is a next level threat when it comes to people in this. When it comes to people that are basically, MMA fighters and circus performers, he is that next level of it. He is a ninja. He is ready to be the guy that breaks through, and that he reveals himself to her. He says, I want you to understand, if you come for me, if you come for my family, that will be the last thing you ever do. But I also want you to understand that you and I were the same. We are weapons. People point us at things and have us do things, which actually now makes me wonder if, even as the Ronin was killing people, if he was being manipulated the whole time. That someone was sending him, pointing him at certain people they wanted removed from the board.
Yeah.
And,
that emotion is easily pointed in a direction.
Exactly. It's my life as a weapon, But he says that, that he was tipped off by one of the lieutenants. And that's when he realized he was being played by these people, because he wasn't attacking these people. That someone in the organization, her boss, wanted her father out of the way. And they felt Ronin was a convenient being to do that for them. Which is pretty dark in its own way. And we do see that this is where we first see her having that falling out with, what's his name? Kazi, yes. Where she's like, why weren't you there that night? And it's like, what do you mean? I just was out of town. I just wasn't there,
Be at every meeting?
Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting. And, of course, we get our final scene with, again, Yelena clearly softening somewhat and presenting to Kate that, I did find out who hired me, and it's your mom. And that's really it,
Does that mean your mom hired me? This has nothing to do with Valerie Contessa de Fontaine?
Well, that's the more complex question. What, because we know that Contessa is the one who handed off the assignment. But was it what she wanted, or was it what she was hired to do, or what served her purpose was to get this Black Widow in this position? It's always that question about who's manipulating who. But yeah, it's interesting. And in here we get our big Vincent D'Onofrio confirmation. Kingpin confirmed.
So she gets two pieces.
Yeah, we'll talk about
her
that.
Mom
episode.
Ordered the hit on Hawkeye, and secondly, that she is way more involved in the things you're investigating than you initially thought. Because the fact that it's Kingpin is a reveal to us, but they've been saying the big guy this whole time, and obviously she understands that it means Kingpin, right? Because it's not like he hasn't been in the news as the underworld quote unquote.
Well, he might be, but we don't know if she follows that.
Fair enough.
That's the thing. Like, if you don't, it's like knowing who Matt Murdock is. It's like, it's something that maybe I
think it's more on the lines of knowing who John Gotti is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, no, except John Gotti loved the camera. and the Kingpin never loved the camera.
Right.
You know, and as we can always say in this is that the Kingpin got out of all of this all the time. You know, the Kingpin always found a way out. So, you know, when we last saw him, he was going to jail again, and yet here he is, already out in a nice white suit with, I believe, a red shirt. You know, it's like, I think it might even have a Hawaiian theme on it, but it was a grainy photo, but you know, it's interesting exactly who the Kingpin is. You know, because obviously he is trying to maintain his shadowy profile. You know, or to be more specific, that he is the legitimate businessman, the man above reproach, who is also secretly the Kingpin of organized crime. You know, that's also a theme that they do with his character a lot. You know, I think that was very much the idea. That was certainly the idea in the Ben Affleck Daredevil story, where, you know, Fisk is this pillar of the community. And I think to a lesser extent, they did that also in the Charlie Cox thing, where Fisk as a businessman was known.
Right.
But of course, he didn't really put stuff out there. He kept his name hidden, you know, through many, many shell corporations.
Kind of like Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
Exactly.
First thing he does when he opens up a new chicken spot is he goes and brings chicken to the police offices and makes a generous donation.
Well, of course, that's what you got to do.
Right.
Oh, anyway, that's the penultimate episode, Mozzie. Take a drink.
Oh, man. I can't believe it was such a short season.
Well, yeah, it's like it's all these 6 episodes, you know. It's these short ones because, you know, they, you know, for what it's worth, I mean, I'm sure a lot of these characters, like, you know, cost money. These actors cost money, you know.
Yeah.
You know, because what's his name? Trying to remember, Jeremy Renner, you know, he actually has other movies coming out and things like that too.
And he's an Oscar winner.
He's an Oscar winner. Okay.
Right. Didn't he win for The Hurt Locker? I thought he did for Best Actor.
Oh, maybe that was a long time ago, but yeah, you know, yeah. I've actually never seen The Hurt Locker, but I hear it's very good.
You ever get to watch it, you're in for a treat. It is.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
It is something.
You know, I usually find most films that because I'm actually a really easy audience to start with, and then when a film is actually good, I usually like it. So, you know, when I don't have to struggle to find the part I like, when it's like, oh, wow, this is well written and well acted, I usually say, oh, that's a very good film.
It wasn't,
but yeah, well, good, you know, good for Jeremy Renner, and you know, I am really pleased with where this story has gone. I really like how the story has progressed. I'm excited to see our final episode, which drops next. Well, it dropped today. It is exciting, and it does open up a lot of interesting questions for us. But
what show is coming up next for Disney after this?
After this is Book of Boba Fett.
No, for Marvel.
Oh, for Marvel, I don't know. I don't know what the next Marvel television property is going to be. I think the next movie
is Doctor Strange, right?
Is it Doctor Strange?
Has to be.
I mean, yeah, it could be. It could be. Yeah, because that's the one that they've already released a trailer for. So
right, and it was the one teased at the end of Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I know that's in May. I don't know if we have a January or February release for Marvel.
Might not.
Yeah, well, you know.
Well, looking forward to Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Book of Boba Fett, and we will be talking about Book of Boba Fett in 2 weeks. We're gonna get Ming-Na Wen back as the ultimate BA that she is. So that's gonna be fun. All right, Maz, any final thoughts on tonight's episode?
Oh no, I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah,
I can't wait to have Wilson Fisk back.
Yes, Wilson Fisk is awesome.
And now, cool. Like, I guess the first Netflix Marvel character that made his way back into the MCU was Charlie Cox in Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, technically, yeah. Well, no, because actually D'Onofrio dropped first.
Did he?
Yes, because this came out last week.
Yeah, but he's not in it, right? He's hinted. Well, I guess he was.
Yeah, we actually had
had confirmation last week. Okay.
Yeah, we got the video last week. We heard the chuckle. A couple of
right, but even that, like, I guess so. That's true. I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just looking for something in my files.
I am really interested to see how they're going to handle Iron Fist. Are they going to keep the dude or find a new? Like they have to, right?
Well, I mean, the actress who played Colleen Wing is like saying, "I am really excited to come back as Colleen Wing."
Well, I mean, hopefully they've got this guy an acting coach and he's been studying at least one form of martial arts since then. Hopefully,
Yeah, I mean, you hope. You hope is what you hope.
I hope he was like practicing by being a stunt double for Shang-Chi. I hope he's been practicing. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be something. I'm sure there will be something. Whatever we will get, we will get. That's all I know for sure at this point.
You're pulling up the little.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay, I was just trying to get it back to the two people face. I just said your face. I like to see my face. All right. So, Mozz, if you would like to reach out to you and talk to you about this episode or next episode or any episode, how can they find you?
You can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And, of course, you can always write to the Capes and Lunatics Network at your leisure at capesandlunatics@gmail.com. And, of course, you can always call us. Leave us a voice message. We will play it on the air. If you call 614-382-2737, that's 614-38-CAPES. And, of course, you can go to Linktree. That's linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. And there you're going to find all of our merch, as well as links to our Patreon account, where you can see topless movie reviews, if that is your want. And help support the station.
Topless movie reviews?
Topless movie reviews.
Okay.
I do them. They're great.
Okay.
And if you'd like to write to me specifically in an old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, you can do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet whatever I feel like when it's on at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEssser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Mozz. All right, you filthy landlubbers. You have come ashore after a wild night at sea with me and Mozz as we have sailed the briny depths of the internet. Please come again next week when once again we will sail full stream ahead. Arr.